Okay, let me see if I've got this right. You're telling me that that hot little spinner in Congress, the one that had a gun-themed restaurant until the cunt of a landlord refused to renew the lease, she's also down to do a little light petting in a crowded theater? And somehow this is supposed to make me like her less?
Oh, wait, you serious? Let me laugh even harder.
And to all those conservatives and Republicans that are giving her shit about this, you people are fucking pathetic. Oh, it was a family-friendly... Shut the fuck up when you got shit like this going on. Or how about we talk about the lady running for the Virginia State House who happens to be a webcam whore?
Roanoke, huh? It's not far. Him model in his underwear.
No, instead, you're worried about her getting her tatas felt up? Fuck, there should be a law against not touching them puppies.
Hey, you want to see something really scary?
You bet.
I feel like I had to learn the concept of chosen families really young, and it wasn't anything to do with my queerness, but just based on the fact that I didn't have the love at home that I needed, and I knew that I was valuable and deserved it, so I found it on my own early on. And, you know, I shouldn't be blamed for that, because blood still exists. You were never there for me, and I found my own love, and that's okay, and I think everybody should be allowed to do that, and that's what I fucking teach in the classroom, okay? I always say give it to your friend, not your mom, because fuck your mom. And I don't know, I just am so sad. I am so sad, and I hate my sister. She's a fucking cunt. That's all I have to say.
Well, isn't that special?
My mom has the coolest fridge. Look at that shit.
Вы меня рассмешили.
They say cows are bad for the environment because all they do is eat plants and fart. Just like vegans.
A vegan and a vegetarian are jumping off a cliff to see who will hit the bottom first. Who wins?
I don't know.
Who wins?
Society.
That actually was pretty funny.
Okay, he's drinking it. I put cleaning products in his prune juice. Tell everyone. It's gonna work before the prune juice does. Hopefully. 2024, here I come.
This is called a love surge. And we do this when one of us has like so much love in our limbs that we can't contain it and feel like we're gonna explode. So Sean is having a love surge right now, and he's gonna wrap around me and shake with the electricity of love until I catch it too and start shaking, and then you explode with a love surge.
I feel so much better.
Don't you?
Thank you.
You're welcome. And that's the love surge.
So much love was just surged.
You don't have to go to hell. You're in hell. This is hell. This is hell. This is hell.
Because democracy basically means government by the people, of the people, for the people. But the people are retarded.
Then strangled them, and finally dismembered their bodies.
Right.
Then do
available.
and homelessness and all that. And now, the voice you've been waiting for.
There is a secret song at the center of the world, and its sound is like razors through flesh. I'm here to turn up the volume.
I'm kind of retarded.
Well, before I get into talking about the news, I'd like to address this a little ray of sunshine. It seems like some people hide their mental illness well, and on the outside they seem to be totally normal, well-adjusted human beings, and it takes some kind of situation to bring out the crazy, whereas other people seem to want to wear it on their sleeve like a badge of honor. It looks like she went to a beauty salon and said, "This is what I have in mind. I want to kind of look like Miss Lippy. You know, Billy Madison's first grade teacher? Yeah, I want to look like her, only deranged and psychotic." And then this was the result. And this is a fucking teacher of children, a shaper of minds. Kids at a very impressionable young age, they're gonna have to come 5 days a week, 180 days, and deal with this paragon of emotional stability. Children pick up things. They're influenced by things. And as a society, we've just decided to say, any fucking nutcase who can earn a bachelor's degree is qualified to shape the minds of our future generations. Perhaps we might want to think about tweaking those standards, just a little bit.
And that's all I have to say about that.
And I guess while we're on the topic of mental illness, did you see the latest video making the rounds from the Ukrainian military spokesperson?
Russia hates the truth that their obsessive focus on a Ukrainian volunteer is simply allowing the light of the Ukrainian nation's honesty to shine brightly. Next week, the teeth of the Russian devils will gnash ever harder, and their rabid mouths will foam in uncontrollable frenzy as the world will see a favorite Kremlin propagandist pay for their crimes. And this puppet of Putin is only the first. Russia's war criminal propagandists will all be hunted down, and justice will be served as we in Ukraine are led on this mission by faith in God, liberty, and complete liberation.
First of all, I have yet to hear a logical explanation as to how a American transgender became the mouthpiece for the fucking Ukrainian military. And secondly, wow, this motherfucker talks like a psycho. Look at those dead shark eyes. And sitting there basically calling for the deaths of what you term Putin's propagandists, to include people that are just against the furtherance of this war and think that it's been a waste of lives and resources. There'll probably come a day when that'll include people like me who are just simply criticizing this bullshit. But to sit there and basically call for their deaths when you're simply the propagandist on the other side? Shit, that takes balls. Oh shit, did I say that? I meant he, she. I just meant that,
It's a man, baby!
Anyways, this definitely isn't the first psychologically horrifying video that this asshat has put out. I think this one might be my favorite.
Do you know the difference between us and them? Besides fighting under this flag and for freedom on behalf of the people of Ukraine, while the Russians are fighting for tyranny and dictatorship, it's pretty simple. We're human, and those guys most definitely aren't. Slava Ukraini.
She's scaring me.
And there's all these videos I've seen of the Russians talking about the Ukrainians, and they don't talk about them like that. They say things like, this needs to stop, we're basically brothers. Even on the battlefield, when they're capturing Ukraine POWs, they're saying, this war is shit, you're our brothers, why are we killing each other? Whereas you got this fuckhead saying, these people are not even human beings. Sorry, but that kind of shit just rubs me the wrong way. And meanwhile, you got the Western news trying to act like the months-old counteroffensive wasn't a complete fucking failure. Which it was. So you've got all these headlines about their slow-going offensive, all very carefully using the word slow instead of fucking failed. And now they're getting to a point where they're running out of counteroffensive conducive weather, so expect a major provocation incoming. Enter this new Elon Musk Starlink wrinkle. When the war had started, Elon basically gave the Ukrainians access to Starlink, but as part of the sanctions against Russia, it wasn't authorized for Russian-held areas, including the Crimea, which was the US policy at the time. Then the Ukrainians wanted him to turn it on so that they could attack the fucking Black Sea Fleet, and he didn't, because that would be going against the policy of our government. And so all these shitbags in the media in the past week or so have been acting like Elon was some kind of traitor for this, and so he's turned over control of those Starlink systems to the Pentagon under a contract that basically lets them do whatever they want, so now it's on them and not him. So now The Ukrainians have been hitting the Black Sea Fleet at Sevastopol, and we got the Russians promising retaliation against the decision-making centers. Now, I'm not saying that this is going to cause them to start nuking European cities or shit like that, but this is something that they will respond to in some way. I mean, they basically have to. And meanwhile, here in the States, a new poll by CBS News and YouGov shows that 48% of Americans under 30 are twice as dumb as shit. And this is the kind of headline where at first glance you think,
well, we're boned.
But if you take not even a deep dive, just the shallowest of dives, let's say, how many people did they ask this question to? I mean, after all, that demographic of Americans makes up over 50 million people. And this poll asked a whopping 484 people. So you put it into context. Out of 484 Zoomers with nothing better to do than answer and respond to a CBS YouGov poll, 48% of them are dipshits. And this poll is CBS and YouGov's attempt at creating consensus for all the Americans out there aged 18 to 30 who just have this gut instinct that this war is fucking stupid and we shouldn't be involved over there. Just like in the Ash experiment or the elevator experiment. They're trying to convince them that going along with stupidity is the thing to do because so many people are stupid. It's a tried and true method that has worked time and time again. The question is, in this new age of information, will it be as effective as it has in generations past? And I guess the same could be said for people that are influenced into getting this new booster.
Booster shots! Come get your booster shots! Booster shots! Come get your booster shots!
Or just people that think that news outlets like CNN and MSNBC are above board and totally not Operation Mockingbird controlled media. Some people have been getting confused lately because all of a sudden people like these outlets have been saying things that they previously wouldn't have touched.
He has done, I don't know if it's similar things, but he's sort of told some stories that don't line up quite like this before.
Yeah, this president has a pattern at this point of either inventing or embellishing stories about his own past, his biography. He did it 3 times in one speech last month alone. He claimed he had witnessed a bridge collapse in Pittsburgh when he actually showed up about 6 hours later. He claimed that his grandfather had died just days before he was born himself at the same hospital. In fact, his grandpa died more than a year before in a different state. He also repeated a favorite false story that I and others have debunked over and over again about a supposed conversation with an Amtrak train conductor he was friends with, who was actually deceased at the time the conversation would have had to take place. And that's not all. There are some more serious ones in my view. Previously in his presidency, he claimed at one point he'd been arrested during a civil rights protest. He said he had visited the Pittsburgh synagogue where worshippers were killed in a 2018 mass shooting. In fact, he had actually spoken to the rabbi, but never went. He said that he used to drive a tractor trailer. He used to drive an 18-wheeler. Never happened. The White House later clarified he used to drive a school bus at one point as a job briefly. School bus, of course, not an 18-wheeler. So whatever his intentions, whether it's foggy memory about stuff that's going on decades ago or deliberate embellishment, this is an unfortunate pattern that keeps coming up again and again with Joe Biden.
All of a sudden they're talking about these idiotic lies that he tells. Most of these lies are years old, but all of a sudden they're presenting it to you in the context of, oh, maybe it's just a foggy memory. He is getting up there in age. They're not doing this because they give a shit about the truth. It's because they're trying to maintain what scraps of credibility they still hold with that small subset of the public. So it's, oh, he's just old and losing a step. It's not that he's fucking senile and demented. They sure can't hint at that possibility because that would mean that all those kooky conspiracy theorists have been saying that shit for years were actually right. Again. So we'll act like this is suddenly a new development. Because it's not just about these silly embellishments on history because of a foggy memory. It's about the fact that he can't string 2 sentences together, and then can't manage to find his way off the fucking stage that he just walked up onto. So they're trying to play this little game where they simultaneously say, well, maybe he's not the best candidate for 24 because he's getting old, and oh, but he's not senile, and he's certainly not a criminal. There isn't any evidence to support this impeachment inquiry. Meanwhile, there's witness affidavits, bank records. But let's not talk about that because it doesn't exist. Let's just talk about another poll.
After House Republicans announced an impeachment inquiry into President Biden, the move has gotten pushback from both sides of the aisle.
And when she says pushback from both sides of the aisle, she means uniparty D-bags like Mitt Romney.
I love hot dogs.
But a new Reuters poll shows the country is divided on the issue. 41% support the idea, 35% are opposed, and 24% just aren't sure.
I love how they put that. Americans are divided. But if you look at it in terms of the usual towing the party line bullshit, these numbers mean that even some people in his own party support this inquiry. And I gotta give credit to Matt Gaetz. He waited longer than I would've, but he finally got up and said, listen,
Stop being a bitch and come on.
either you get the ball rolling or we're gonna fucking remove you. Because of all these promises that McCarthy made, what has he really done?
What are you doing?
Fucking nothing.
Exactly. Fucking nothing. And then you had McCarthy hilariously fire back that he thought that Matt Gaetz was colluding with Eric Swallowswell. And all this really does is confirm what I've been saying since January. McCarthy is uniparty scum, and it's very unlikely that anything of note is gonna happen while he's the fucking speaker. All you're gonna get is a bunch of bloviating at press conferences and strongly worded tweets. And he needs to just go ahead and fade away into obscurity, like Mitt Romney.
Hot dog is my favorite meat.
He's announced that he won't be seeking re-election next year, mostly because he's become so hated by the constituency of his own party and his own state. And of course he had some parting words of wisdom that it's time that we turn over the reins of power to a younger generation. Basically referring to Mitch McConnell, Joe Biden, Donald Trump, all these other old guys need to get out of there too. And he's trying to act like he's just leading by example, when the truth is he couldn't win re-election if Joseph Smith himself rose from the fucking grave and endorsed him. And more they're losing their grip on people's perception of reality, and people are figuring out what the media is really there for. When you've got people in a place like New York City in such a short period of time going from mass protests against Trump immigration policies to now getting a little taste of what an open border is actually going to be like, how do you bullshit your way out of that one? Things there are going downhill for them fast. And then in a place as far away as Tokyo, you got a protest in the street in support of Trump? I don't think anybody had that on their 2023 bingo card. They are gonna have to make some really drastic fucking moves in the next year to clamp this lid back on. But luckily for them, drastic moves is what they specialize in. Sláinte.
All I have in this world is my thoughts and my words, and I don't break them for no one. You understand? So say good night to the bad guy. 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 Come on. Come on. fuck with me! I told you! Don't fuck with me! I told you! Don't fuck with me! You stupid fuck! Look at you now! Look at you now!